So as we begin our time together, this is what I'm thinking about. Thinking about Valentine's Day. How many remembered that was on Friday? Yeah? Yeah, I didn't. Oh, I did, but we didn't. Well, that's another door. It's another story, another day. So as we begin, what'd you do on Valentine's Day? Because I need some ideas. Go out for dinner. All right. Anything else? Basketball game. It was great. Anybody else?
Lighting a cozy fire.
A cozy fire. All right. So far, good ideas that I can maybe do one of them. All right. What other ideas you got for me? No one got flowers? There we go. Flowers. Chocolates? No chocolates? Oh, Gene got chocolates. There we go. Gene, good job, Jim. Way to be. And flowers. All right. Yeah, so we have these ideas for Valentine's Day, these ideas that we want to give and receive, and gifts and love and all these special things. And we kind of have this idea what love looks like. Love looks like that Valentine's Day, right? Well, that's one day out of the year. What do we do the other 364 days? You know, do we just kind of put it away? Here's that special day. Hey, here's that special flower. Here's that special chocolate. We forget about the other 364. But I think as we think about love and we think about who God's called us to be, it begins to open our eyes up to what does love look like? What does it mean? How do I live it out? How do I show it? How do I reflect it? How do I respond to it? And it's interesting that as we think about this love for a moment, we think about Valentine's, we let that sink in a little bit. There was an unmarried man who writes about love and writes about how a husband and wife should interact with each other, how we should interact with our significant others, and how we should share and we should receive and all these things. And it always dawns on me when I talk about Paul, who writes this, that you always hear the old joke, the one who's never been is the expert in everything, right? If you don't have kids, you're the expert on children. If you're not married, you're on the expert of love and how a husband and wife should interact. And that's what Paul shares with us quite a bit. This comes from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33. It's in your bulletin. It's also on the screen behind me. Will you join me in reading this? Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. So it's this idea that husbands and wives are, and I know that language can be a barrier for some of us because some of us aren't married. So I just want to, as I use that and fall into those languages, please forgive me. I want to try to use the word significant others because some of us have significant others. Some of us are searching for that person. But we have this idea that love and respect is key. That love and respect is a key to that relationship. Love and respect opens up a doorway because as human beings, we want love. We want to give love. We also want respect, and we want to give respect. So maybe we ought to begin by what is love and what is respect. See, love is that strong affection towards another. I know Pastor Allen was up here last week and he talked about how love is a vague word and how we can use it in different ways. Well, I want to bring that vagueness down a little bit and talk about that strong affection. Because we can say we love pizza, we do have a strong affection for it, and our bellies show it and our bodies see it. But there's also that strong affection for other people. That strong affection that says that I'll do whatever it takes to be with you, to be by your side. And there's this idea of respect. This idea of respect, because respect is again, one of those vague words. We know it when we see it. We know it when we feel it. We understand it to a point, but it's when we have to define it. I've sat with a good number of people, and I always share this love and respect idea, and they say, well, what is respect? And it comes back to, this is the definition that I've seen, recognize the worth of a person, As I have two boys, and I was talking with the younger one about respect earlier this week, and we talked about what it means. He says, "What does respect mean?" I said, "It means that you esteem, you honor, you admire the person. You hold them in high regards." And so as Paul is sharing this idea that there's this love and respect, nevertheless, that men are to love their significant other as they love themselves, and women are to respect the significant others. I think it's just not identified in genders, because I think we all need to have that. But there's a good portion of us who want to see that love. And there's a good portion of us who want to see that respect and want to see it lived out. So maybe what does love look like? Well, love begins to look like it's building trust. It's about building trust, building that opportunity to be there for one another. Paul just said that we are to love each other as we love ourselves, right? And when you see someone who loves someone else well, you'll notice that they love themselves well, that they take care of themselves, right? It's hard to see that love when there's someone who's not willing to care for themselves. It's there, and they need it, but sometimes it comes out in some terms and some ways that just aren't healthy. And sometimes it's hard to have that trust. Knowing that person is having a difficult time caring for who they are. Sorry, my microphone's escaping me. But it's that moment that as we build that trust with each other, that we see that love being poured out. We see that love being open. We see that love undergirding. And as that love begins to undergird, there's this book out there called 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. At the end of this message, I have the resources labeled out, and you can take a picture if you want, so you don't have to worry about writing it down at the moment. But there's these 5 areas of love he talks about. It talks about people receive love and give love in different ways. It talks about being a time. So go back to the Valentine's Day and think about what made that day so special. Was it because you spent time with each other? Was it because you gave gifts or you received gifts? Was it because you were holding hands? Was it because you said words, or you had a card and you wrote words in there that showed your affection, your affirmation? Or was it because you were able to serve, that you were able to help, that you were able to do things for the other person, for that significant other? You see, in that process, as you find yourself at what made that day special for you, that's how you receive love. That's how you understand it. It's not only just how you receive it, it's probably also how you give it. Like, for instance, my love language is serve. I just love to serve. I know that seems like a little bit odd. You should serve. But I know that when I serve, like, for instance, Beth's not here, so she won't even, it'll be okay. So when Fridays are cleaning day, it's my day off, that's when I clean the house, and I clean the house because that's my love language to my wife. That I scrub the toilets and scrub the sinks and smell like chlorine when I'm done, but it's how I love her. That's how I share that love for her. Now, my wife's love language is not service. Get that out of the way right now. It's not serve. Her love language is gifts. That she feels loved when she buys gifts for others and she gives gifts to others. And so you can see there's a little bit of a rub there. I don't necessarily need gifts. If you look at my wardrobe, all the clothes I buy is because, I'll back that up. All the clothes I have is because she bought them for me. Because she loves to do that. Me taking care of different things around the house is my love for her. And it's taken us a while to work through that. But it comes back to this question, if we love each other's, whose needs are first? if we are caring for one another and we're living out that love language for each other, whose needs are first? Because as we live that out, if I want her to know that I love her, then I need to be cognizant of the fact that I need to buy gifts. I'm not going to buy clothes, so don't worry about that part. But I need to buy her gifts so that are meaningful for her, to show her that I support her, that I'm with her, that I'm walking beside her. Because that's another aspect of that love, as Paul points out, that love as you love yourself. And it speaks volumes as we live out that love. As we share it and as we walk in those words, as we give that different language and that different understanding. Because it's not just only about love, as we've just spent some time with that love, but it's also about respect. Now, respect's a little bit different. Because respect is that builds esteem. It's that seeing honor. I was having a conversation earlier today. I know it's early already, but a little bit earlier today. And we were talking about young boys. Now, I'm a father of two, and my young boys like to pick on each other and like to have fights. I have a brother. I did the same thing to him. Why? Because I want my brother to respect me, right? Isn't that what they say? I just want him to look up to me. I just want him to do these things. You ever hear in a conversation with guys? Listen to the guys talk. What do they talk about? Who achieves what, right? Who makes the most money? Who does what? Who has all these gifts or who has all these toys? And they kind of build off of each other on those things. Why? Because they want that honor. They want that respect of the other person. You're going to respect me. You're going to look at me differently because of what I do, because of what I have, because of who I am. I think when Paul points that out in Ephesians 5:33, he talks about that respect, that honoring. Now, here's the thing about that respect as well. It's about looking at someone with honor and looking at them in high regards and seeing the specialty, the specialness and the worth that they carry. If you dig really deep down into it, all the surface things that are there, the power, prestige, money, whatever it is, really what's digging down deep into it is being seen. And I think as human beings, it really comes down to we want to be seen. We want someone to look at us and know that we are there. And to value us because we are there. And as that value comes out and as that worthiness comes out, we get to understand then that there's support there. There's an undergirding that's there. Emerson Eggerichs is the one who brought this to my attention in his book called Love and Respect. And again, it's another resource you'll see at the end of something that continues to help us understand love and respect. But in that respect piece, he shares this story as this business person was at work and his wife came to visit him and wanted to have lunch with him, just showed up out of the blue. And as she's there watching the office come together, she sees all his colleagues giving him respect. That when she announces who she is, they begin to interact with her, but they're also showing her the same respect that they showed him. And it opened her eyes. That her husband, the one that she sees every day, that she was starting to take for granted, began to see him in a different light and began to honor him. And as she began to honor him, he began to pour more love into her. And Emerson Eggerichs would share that it becomes an upward spiral. That it fosters that relationship. The more love that is given, the more respect that's received. The more love is given, the more respect is received. And you see how it builds on each other. And it opens that doorway for not just love and respect and deepen that relationship, but it opens that doorway for trust. Because believe it or not, maybe you haven't experienced this, but I experience it quite a bit. I damage that relationship. I don't always love. I don't always respect. But there comes this moment that as we live into this relationship and we build this trust and we give love and we give respect, that we begin that trust and we can take those little hits. But there also comes that moment when we need to ask for forgiveness. Because it can only take so much. And it can only just grab and grab and grab and not give anything back for so long before that forgiveness needs to take place. In fact, that I was at that point yesterday when on my drive from Meadville back here last night, and it just dawned on me, it's like, I'm so stupid. That I needed to apologize to my wife because why? Who forgot Valentine's Day? This dummy. And so it becomes that moment. How am I going to love? How am I going to respect? How am I going to continue to build this relationship if I continue to cause damage? And you're in the same boat. Well, maybe you didn't forget Valentine's Day. But there's been times where you forgot about love. That love language that your wife or that your husband needs. And it might be that point in time where you've forgotten what that love language is. Or maybe you it hasn't dawned on you of what that is. And you got to take a moment and step back and look at that. And that's interesting because in your insert in your worship, your bulletin, there's a cornhole on one side that I want you to take home, but I'm going to make you take it home because on the other side is a blank paper, right? I want you to flip that over, and there's pencils in front of you in the little thing. I want you to write the word love. I'm going to give you a few moments. And as you write that word love, I want you to think about how do you receive love? What is one of the languages that you want, that you know that you are loved? Is it with spending time? Going back to Valentine's Day, it just wasn't the dinner, it was the conversation, it was the time that you spent together, near each other. Is it words of affection or affirmation? Is it the words that you say or the words that you write that you show love or that you receive love? Is it gifts that you want to give? Not because the other person's demanding it, but because that's how you want to show them your love. Is it physical touch? Is it hand holding? Is it giving a hug? Or is it service that you want to do? So just take a few moments, think about that. Write it down. And it just doesn't have to be with a spouse, because I think about that's how we show our families that we love them as well. Our children, our grandchildren, our siblings. And since you didn't use up the whole piece of paper, there's still some more sides there. There's still some more space on there. I want you to write down the word respect. How do you honor someone else? What can you do to let that other person, that significant person in your life, know that you respect them? maybe let's take a step back. Maybe not how right now. Maybe write the answer to the question, why? Why do you respect them? Why do you respect them? Why do you want to give them honor? Why do you want to hold them in high regards? And after you figured out that why, how do you do it? So this way I won't forget Valentine's Day next year, right? But it's not once a day. It's not once a day. It's not once a year. We should be doing this all 364 days, 365 days a year. We spend the time building a love and building respect. We take the time to understand and hear. We take the time to love and to be. Because as Paul shares this verse in Ephesians 5:33, and we're going to talk about this next week in chapter 5, verse 1, he says that we should be imitators of Christ. And he says that imitators of Christ first because he brings into that relationship of what it looks like as a husband and wife, as a love for significant others, as an example of that, imitating Jesus. That we have that love and that respect. Because if we take a moment and think Jesus loves us and respects us, loves us enough to die for us, and respects us enough to allow us to make that decision to follow him or not. And as we live in that relationship with Jesus, we live in that relationship with others. And how we live that out, that love and that respect, speaks volumes about our faith and our witness in this world.